Okay, Dr. Khosla, let's just talk on activism. So activism today in political system in world government, what's the solution for activism? What is our stand? It's like the activists are not really making impact, or their effort is being abused by usage of power, different means of silencing activists. So what is the solution? What do you think we can do as regards this? To you, Dr. Khosla.
Activism is in democracies
Yes.
or even autocracies is a very big thing, like right now. And we have a global civil society now because of Twitter and Facebook. So immediately people in Nigeria can lead to to people of India.
Okay.
In fact, I read an article on Washington Post where they compared the farmers' protest in India to Nigerian protest, EndSARS protest,
Yes.
and but you know, democracy, for example, uh, it is whether it is in the West or the East, it's equally under threat. It's more like like I had written an article few date years back on totalitarianism, and because of technology now, the problem is that world the governments, people, they blame uh, terrorists, etc., for menace, any kind of menace. But the fact is, what is really happening is the real power is with the governments. You know, it's not that it's with them. They are like stealing, they're smuggling things, because you're not giving it to them. So they are struggling with. So it's the governments of the world. For example, you'll take the example of Snowden, or Assange, or many of such kind of things, where people were trying to reveal WikiLeaks, for example. These things were happening, but these were democracies. What do we say about Nigeria? Nigeria is amazing because young people came forward and they protested against the brutal police force. So that's amazing. That's just too good. It's an example for the world. How young people can come and put forward their views on um, atrocities which have been put on them by the government. So I guess that is the whole thing. So, and for example, the situation right now, what we can say is very Orwellian. What in 1984 or George Orwell said. It's like more like for example, many of the vocabulary used during that time, I guess it was in the 1930s when the book was written. But now it's very much, it can be used right now. Why don't you ask Sir to speak? Can he speak now?
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Dr. Mike. We can't still hear you. Sir, the audio is not connecting.
Okay. For example, news speak, one was the word. So that meant obfuscatory language being used, so that people don't understand what's really going on in the country. Then the thought police, the thought police was one police which was controlling the thought of the people, and that is true of right now, be it US, UK, China, India, the major democracies or people's democracies. They're just controlling the thought. In fact, in the place where I'm working right now, Prajna Initiative, we have introduced a zero amendment for US. Right to think, right to thought. So right to thought means that you are able to think for yourself, and nobody is going to tell you, you are supposed to do this or you're supposed to do that. So people in Nigeria have a right to think. They have a right to have the kind of uh, the kind of situation they want to be in. So that is the whole thing, like and And then proles. Proles means in 1984 it meant that people who are the proletariat, they are the ones who are the sufferers. So too much knowledge to citizens by the state is considered to be a rebellion. So that is what is happening in Nigeria as well. It's being considered to be a rebellion. So that the book which was written that time is now working. For example, in India, loan waivers to poor farmers, which it prevent which has been as low as a rupee. So people protested against it. Right now we have a farmers protest going on in India. So the government has repealed three because of the the best part is that they had to repeal the three amendments which they had made to the constitution. And so people now they're kind of it shows that people's voice is heard. For 1 year they stood throughout the dark and sun and rain and everything. COVID they faced, everything they faced, and they still are on it, and they want the whole thing to be repealed in this session of the parliament, which is going to start on Monday. So active discussion is going to be held. In the opposition was in favor of the farmers, but the people of the ruling government was not in favor of it. It was in favor of new privatization laws for farmers. But farmers were like, this is going to this is going to harm them. So yeah. So can we heard? I guess he's on mute.
Yes. So let's have Dr. Mike on board. Dr. Mike, please
So
unmute. I've been trying to unmute is okay.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, we can
Yes,
hear you
sir.
now.
So
Yeah,
I said you should tell me what is on, because all along I've not been hearing you.
Oh, okay, sir. I'm very sorry for that. We are talking about EndSARS Lagos panel reports, but we are majorly on the activism worldwide because the issue of DJ K-Switch and other had during the EndSARS, in which I was included. I was included also. I spent good 39 days hiding after the Lekki shooting. I went to hide because of the movement of government against the protester and the sponsors of the EndSARS panel. So now we are taking review on what is the stance of activists, activism generally in the world today, and also in Nigeria. Using Nigeria, for example, like government use every means of power to silence activists in every movement. So by the virtue of your experience, experience of more than 4 decades running activism activities across the world, what can you say about this as regard the stand of activists, then the issue of EndSARS in Lagos, sir? So that's what we have been discussing so far. So we would like you to have your contribution.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
In the first place, there's no government anywhere in the world that can stop activism.
Okay, sir.
Like you are aware today all over the world, those who want to stay in active human rights activities are still on. Nobody can silence them. That one is very clear, unless you are not actually prepared. Like you hit yourself for 39 days, you are out today because you find out that there's no way you can be silenced. So whoever is silenced have never been prepared from the beginning to be a human rights activist. I, for example, I've gone many places. If you're going to be a human rights activist, you must be ready to take risk. You must be ready to take tear gas. You must be ready to take the tension. You must be ready to government, being a government spokesman, try to defend government in a more foolish and irresponsible manner. You endanger the country. You ridicule the entire citizens of the country. You make us look nothing in the community of nations. There is no need to come up with such a ridiculous belief and the propaganda that nobody died in the Lekki toll gate. You know, that makes Nigeria a caricature in the nations, in the community of nations. People died in Lekki toll gate. The number may be a dispute, but people died. This is very clear. Even the mortuary recorded a lot of dead bodies within those 2 days, from the 20 to 21. It was well publicized by Lagos State pathologists. I mean, how can you go about saying that nobody died in Lekki toll gate? It's ridiculous. That's not how to defend the country. The aim of the protest is to make the country a better one. It's not to continue to live in self-denial. That is not the portion of a nation that wants to progress. I mean, I'm saying categorically here as Dr. Mike Uyi, an international human rights activist based here in the UK, that a lot of people died in Lekki toll gate. Whether Lai Mohammed is disputing it or not, it does not change anything.
Yes. It's okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for having me. Here is Dr. Khosla. Let me do a brief introduction. Is a former assistant professor at Delhi University in India. And she's the director and co-founder of Prajna Initiative, USA. Checking her profile, she has a series of wealth of experience as regards politics entirely, especially theoretically. And she has been on this platform. I think this is the 4th or 5th times now that we have been having series of discussion, woman participation in government, democracy system, the solution to the corrupted one, and she has been contributing very greatly. So I want to use this medium to introduce her to you, sir. I call her my political mother, and more also from Dr. Mike Uyi is a father to me. At least I've known him since 2015. Yes, 2014, when I started my activism purely. Although we have not that met, but I follow all his activities, and he has inspired me, he motivated me. Sorry for brief delay. So I would like to continue as regards today's meeting. Please, hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me, ma'am? Oh.
Against them, and so they were totally the government was following them, what they're doing, everything. And now the technology is so far advanced that, for example, Obama's government, Noam Chomsky said we expected that he would not be not like that, but the most espionage was held during the Obama's time. So I guess it's not such an easy thing to stop China, for example, or Tibet or Taiwan, any of these states, they have been, total espionage against Dalai Lama, and, so those kind of things are there. Similarly, in India, for example, AFSPA is there, the army lab, for example, in many of the states, it has been put in, and so many of the activists have raised voice against it. So India, the best part of India is that, we have a lot of leftist activists, working, and, they are
Yeah.
doing this particular work. They are like asking questions to the government, and, like government has to respond, because the opposition is, very active in asking questions to the ruling parties. So whether it is the Congress or the BJP, both the governments have been under surveillance of the people. They have surveillance against people, but the people are also asking them questions. So 1 year of farmers protest went on yesterday. It just completed 1 year, and so yeah. So this is the whole thing. So sir, what do you say about Nigeria?
Thank you very much, Dr.
Well,
Khosla.
Nigeria is not an isolated society. The only difference is one country differs from the other in the sense that politics is local. What's happening in India cannot be exactly what's happening in America or in China. If the American government say, okay, we will not allow you to come to our country tomorrow, their money is there. Their investment is there. They don't invest in their own country. They go for medical care abroad. They don't develop their own medical care in their own country. They develop other countries' industry, and they are not developing their own. So the master relationship is there. They take from their master, who are in the America or in the United Kingdom, and come and use whatever instructions given to them to oppress the poor, or to ensure that democracy is practiced in a particular way different from the other, when there is just one simple definition for democracy. It's a government for the people, by the people, and for the people. It cannot be otherwise for the rich or for the most intelligent or the most rich. That is not the definition of a democracy. So we've had the same similar problem. Like China is trying to do to Taiwan, the rest now trying to fly about 67 aeroplanes all over their sky to intimidate them. Those things are not needed. Nations of the world must work with love. With love, you don't need much powers, because things will be easier. People will be easy to govern, particularly when people are educated. They are easy to govern than when people are not educated. But most countries in the third world want to keep people uneducated at all times. They want to keep people suppressed so that they won't know their rights, because it's difficult for you to oppress a man that is educated. So these are part of the reason. And they also create poverty. Once you are poor, the rich will always be your master at all levels. So these are the situation that is common within Nigeria, India, and all these other countries like Tibet and all the others, which is not as prevalent like in a place like Germany, Italy, United Kingdom, or USA. People can always raise up their head and say, no, 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 we don't. We don't go by that. And they will have the legal system to back it up. But in the third world country, the government is not controlling the judiciary. So you have no justice.
So like I had I was reading somewhere, the whistleblowers are the ones who are treated the worst in many of these developed world as well. Assange, for example, like character assassination of him, and then he was exiled to different places, and this is the whole thing. Then so many of such people, Snowden, for example, so many of people, who have been whistleblowers, have received a very daunting response from the governments. So this has to be taken care of, that like whistleblowers are protected. If they say something against the government, the government should not go against them, in a way that they punish them, or like ask them to leave the country, or take exile in some other country. And so this is the whole thing. And like whistleblowers are the ones. So, and yeah, so this is the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, like I would say, whoever wants to have a stand in whatever he's doing, like Luther King did, nobody could dissuade him from fighting for the rights of the people in America. Nobody, no single soul could hold Martin Luther King Jr. And he succeeded. Today we have these holidays in the United States of America. Today people can, to an extent, at least 68% of rights are guaranteed.
I'll just speak on this thing, that
Okay.
we were talking about whistleblowers, like people who are the activists in in the world, and who are raising voice against oppression of people, through police, army, or the government. In US, for example, philosophers like Slavoj Zizek, Noam Chomsky, movie A-lister Susan Sarandon, and Peter Sarsgaard and Sarah Lucas, and musicians Moby, for example, they raise their voice against, um, uh, you know, Edward Snowden, that the former National Security Agency contractor, now in exile in Russia. So they did raise their voice against. So this is the kind of the whistleblower the country, the world needs, the intellectuals coming together, and the activists coming together, and acting as whistleblowers, where something wrong is happening. And after all, people can't be jailed for no reason, like they have to have a concrete reason. And if somebody is revealing something about the government which is oppressive, which is wrong, which is wrong, which is being done to the people of the country, then no government has the right to that is for sure. So yeah.
Okay. Very sorry for the break. Let's have one of the more topic again for discussion. Now, activism at its stand. What happened here? It happened all over. We just use the EndSARS as a case study. So it doesn't limit at the EndSARS. It happened in India, it happened in China. In fact, even the Koreans is even worse, that no one can speak, like North Korea now. I don't think I've ever seen someone that will just come and attack a Jamhuri of North Korea. So to you, what do you think that we can do to make sure that activists are well encouraged in the world?
Yeah, I guess there should be a talk, which a channel which has to be established of talk between the activist and the government, because without government we can't do anything, and without whistleblowers also we can't do anything. So both of them have to have a channel line where both can talk through a deliberation which is which is dialogue based, where situation of here and now is established. You know, even if you can't see future for next 10-15 years, at least for 1 year we can make a plan. So for example, many of the thinkers like Amy Gutman, she would say that here and now we should have deliberative democracy. So deliberation means where we talk about uh, differences which we have between ourselves, but we can resolve them. So I guess that is the whole thing. And we have theoretical material dealing with how to have activists speaking on issues, and the way they should be treated in the best possible way, and they should not be jailed because they have raised a voice against the government. Not at all. No ways. This is not done at all. And people, wrong people being taken into custody is not the right way of dealing with the whistleblowers. And because they're doing a good thing for the society, and government has to realize it and respond to it in a proper way. So I guess that is the whole thing. And
Okay. Good evening, ma.
This lady. That never happened. It happened. What the government needs to do is to apportion blame to those that are having the faults, deal with those that need to be dealt with, reward those that need to be rewarded, and let the nation move forward. Improve the Nigerian police force. That is one of the capital aspects of the protest. The police were becoming brutal on the public because they were not taken care of. So all the anger was back to the members of the civil society and the civilians. So the government need to really sit down and amend what we demanded for. The 5-point demands must be met. It's not going to be met by harassing people, detaining people, or chasing people up and down, or taking them to court. No, it's got to be resolved by a method of a relationship, calling the people together, listening to them. It's only a foolish government that will say, I will not listen because if I listen to people, they will think I'm cheap. No, government needs not to be feared. Government needs to be loved, not feared. That is my position.
Thank you very much, sir. One more thing. Now, the Lagos State panel report has come out, and over 40 were recognized that were killed during that day. It was just few minutes before the armed forces came when I left that Lekki toll gate. I left because I work also as journalist, so as pressman. So I have to cover another street on a report when I heard that this thing was going on. So I have to run out of the whole Lagos state to a redemption camp. That was where I had myself. I watched everything on TV. And I couldn't hold myself for almost a week. I was sick seriously, even watching my colleague that we were together being shot. Now, the report has come out that over 40, even close to 50 died, which is true. But the government still insists that nobody died, which is from Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed. So, he said they are saying still that nobody died. Now, let's take this as a sample. What's your view as regard this? Because it was one government that declared that, okay, Lagos State government make us to know that close to 50 people died. Federal government say nobody died. So now, and there's the same party system, they are the same party ruling the same government, and they are from the same party ruling the entire state and nation. So what's your view as regards this, sir?